How are you doing today, sir?
Good.
I say shake the camera.
I'm a little tired.
Is it because your my questions downstairs?
Yeah, your questions are very deep. They dig cellularly inside. And I'm trying to conjure a good message. I'm trying to surface something worth your while.
It's going to be
And
difficult.
it's just not working. No, I've been in the woods for 4 months, and I'm just not used to being in the city, even though I'm really enjoying being back in my hometown, because I love it here. But I became a little feral, I should say. Yeah, and I say it with all seriousness.
I really loved your performance in Hail Caesar.
Thank you, man.
You've
Really.
been on a little bit of a roll in terms of doing some great work. What the hell is it like winning the actors lottery, where you get to actually work with the Coen Brothers multiple times? You get to work with Denis, all the stuff you've been able to do. It's like,
I feel like, and it's not this at all, and I don't mean this in any kind of pretentious or arrogant way at all. But I feel like somebody set me up and said, if you can deal with 22 years of a living, but a lot of rejection and a lot of judgment, if you can deal and not totally freak out, you get to go to jail a couple times. I'll give you that. But not completely self-destruct and get your shit together, then we'll give you some nice things. And that's how I feel. I feel like the last 9 years I've been given this incredible gift of amazing people, amazing storytellers that I'm still in awe of and very grateful for.
well, it's also
In
interesting.
all seriousness.
I've spoken to a lot of actors, and the truth is that sometimes you're almost waiting for your body to reflect what people are looking for. It's not the talent, it's the look that you have, you know? I could be wrong about this.
No. I'm saying you could be wrong, you could be right. I don't know. It's like that thing of like what's needed now for what I was needed for Llewellyn. I mean, I went in there doing a Texas accent because I knew that West Texas, I wasn't a Texas, it was West Texas accent. And Ethan asked me after the audition for No Country, can you do a Texas accent? And I was like, yeah. I thought that's what I did, but yeah. So there was something that they were very frustrated, very angry at that point, and there was something that worked for them, even though I had sent them an audition tape and they didn't respond to it at all. So who knows? And why would they think of me for this part? Like run a studio and a guy who's like from New Jersey, and I was the guy who did No Country. I was the guy who was the weird guy in True Grit. You know, I was like, why would they? I don't know, man.
From when they approached you with the material to what people are seeing, did a lot change? Or with them, is it always like what they tell you, that's the exact movie you're making?
No, not at all. No. But, I mean, what they write, because they're one of the best, I mean, if you look at, what did I see the other day? Bridge of Spies, which I thought was really quite good. I liked it personally very much. And that's Joel and Ethan's script. You know, Suburbicon that George is going to direct, that's Joel and Ethan's script, and I read that and I was laughing out loud. And the part that George wants me to play, I'll do in a second, just because it's freaking really well written and funny. When I read this, I was like, the only thing that scared me was, how do I play this? Why do they think that I can play this? I don't know how to do this. But they, kind of like Barry Sonnenfeld, it's the one thing that I really enjoyed about Barry Sonnenfeld is that I was appreciative that he saw in me the ability to do Tommy in Men in Black 3.
Yeah, by the way, that was a spot on.
But I don't know how he saw that. I don't know why he knew I could maybe pull that off. That's amazing.
I definitely want to know about memorable moments from filming this one. Is there a day or two you'll always remember?
I can't. Channing, and I'm not just mad. Channing's dancing, I thought was phenomenal, especially when he jumped. I like this movie way more than I should, but when he jumps from the table to the ladder and he kind of floats across, and when he does that from the boat to the submarine, I thought was really cute.
I laughed out loud multiple times.
Dude, oh, I mean the whole movie?
The whole movie.
And then I thought the scene with George, I was very uncertain about, because he and I, spent a lot of time joking around, and so you had two kind of alpha clowns on set, and I'm sure it just bothered the shit out of Joel and Ethan, but there was a lot of that going on, and I wanted to focus, and so I kind of let him have the table, and then that made me enjoy slapping him even more, and I liked that day a lot. I liked every day on this, man. The only scene that I really had trouble with was the scene with my wife, Allison Pill, and I watched that scene, and now it's one of my favorite scenes because you can see more struggle going on with Eddie in that scene than any other scene, except maybe the first confessional. And it makes sense. It makes sense why I would be so uncomfortable.
Well, once you see the whole movie, absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you planning on directing anything anytime soon?
There's a couple of things, but I haven't decided which one yet.
So it's like something that's a priority in 2016 or 2017?
2017.
Like a genre picture or something?
There's a couple of things I'm looking at. But people I've been very lucky only because, and part of this is because of Joel and Ethan, because they've been very, not to me, but outwardly complimentary about my care of the entire thing, as opposed to just my part, which, some people would be ashamed of, but I'm not. I like thinking of the business portion of it. I like thinking of everybody's part. I like thinking of the tone of a movie. I like being in a great movie a lot more than I like being good in an okay movie.
Well, I've spoken to a few people that would rather have a small part in an awesome movie than because ultimately people are going to remember your awesome part. You know what I mean?
Totally. I was even saying that about my dad. My dad was like, I don't want to do it. I'm not making any money. And I was like, yeah, but you're in Catch Me If You Can. Like, that's a freaking cool ass movie. You're in Traffic. You have one scene, or 1.5 scenes, but you're in traffic.
Sure.
Like, you're in freaking traffic.
Yeah, people were going to say that about what you've been doing recently. But let's move past that. Okay. So are you looking forward to Thanos standing up anytime soon?
I am. I talked to those guys next week. I think it's next week. Feige and Louis Esposito and all those guys, the Russo brothers. And to finally, because I've been gone. And I'm not kidding when I say, like, I've been in the deep woods for a very, very long time in very, very cold weather and hiking and doing all this shit that we've been doing for this movie. Like, The Revenant was like nothing compared to what we did. We had no hot tubs and warming tents and shit like that. But, because we had no money. We had no money. So I don't know what's going on. But I do know that it's time for us, not my urging, Kevin's urging, to sit down and say, we need for you to know the whole trajectory.
Sure. Well, I've spoken...
I'm really excited about it, man. It's the best decision, honestly. Like, for a guy who stayed away from certain bigger genres, and I won't tell you what movies I decided not to do that may have turned out huge or not so huge or whatever. This decision, no matter how it turns out, I feel so good about. I love this character. I love this idea of doing this thing. So.
But by the way, why wouldn't you? You're going to literally be fighting everyone. Like, you're literally...
No, that's when I explain it to people who don't know. And me, I'm just starting to get privy to all this stuff,
right.
It's like, no, you don't understand. It's me, or Thanos, me against everyone.
Yes.
Everyone who you've seen in that genre of the Marvel Universe will be them on one side and me on the other end.
I hosted an IMAX screening with the Russos. We showed Winter Soldier. We did it like
cool.
They stayed and did like an hour Q&A. They were
great.
Amazing.
Oh, great.
And one of the things was like everyone was asking, well, some of the characters from the Netflix TV shows make an appearance. What about these? And they're literally like, we have, I think they said something like 70 characters on the wall right now.
Wow.
that we're talking about. It's like literally everyone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and you are literally fighting everyone.
Everybody.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You know what I mean?
Great. It's
what are people like? It's. I think people love the Coen Brothers and like the stuff you've been able to do. But are you having like family members being like pretty giddy about you being in the Marvel universe, or is it not really? No one. You know what I mean? Or is it more just fans?
Family members are no. No, it's more outside the family. They are giddy, but they would never say. They wouldn't even. She said everybody's very supportive of each other. Like my daughter has a movie coming out on February 6th on Lifetime about the Manson murders and the Lost Girls, and she's one of the stars of that. And so we all keep it, you know.
Sure.
Like, you know, My Dad, Life in Pieces, and Sisters, and all this kind. Everybody's doing well right now. It's a good time for us, for all of us. But we keep, you know, and then you get out, and then you remember because of other people. They're like, dude, dude.
Right, totally.
And you're like, and it's usually in New York too. It's not so much in LA. It's usually back east. There, people are very open and loud about their excitement.
The Russos mentioned to me that the shoot is like 9 or 10 months, some crazy amount of time. Are you? Do you know that, or am I giving you information?
Totally giving me information.
Yeah, they're shooting both back to back.
No, I didn't know that either.
Oh yeah, you know, you're in it for the trenches, especially because you're fighting everyone.
I know all this stuff next week, but I will let them know who told me everything before they told me.
Yeah, like you're going to be spending some solid time in Atlanta.
Yeah, exactly. Is that where they're shooting?
I think so.
Well, that's good. That's where my fiance is from, so it's all good.
Yeah.
So the family is, the extended family.
You will be there for a very extended, especially because I think they're shooting both at the same time, and like part 1 and part 2 could be the same day. You know, when you get sets, you just fucking go for it.
Yeah, well, it'd be like one long script as opposed to 2 parts.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I definitely am curious. Do you remember the reason why you first wanted to be an actor? Was it a girl? Was it you had some instinct that acting is what you know?
No,
what I mean?
I took an acting class in school, and I wasn't interested in acting at all because my father was an actor, and I didn't spend any time down in Hollywood, so I didn't understand that whole thing. I just knew that he worked and then he didn't work, and then we had money and then we didn't have money. So it came as easily as it disappeared.
Sure.
And I thought, well, why would you ever want to do that? I was much more into numbers and the idea of security and the idea of, you know, accumulation and upward trajectories and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So I had no interest in being an actor because it was way too, you know, fickle. But then I took an acting class in high school, and I got up and I did a character. It was an improv class, and I got up and I did a character that everybody cracked up at, and this is like, that was it. It was like a drug for me. That was a long-winded. That was like my tired answer.
No, it's all good. I'm getting the wrap-up signal, so I'll just say one last thing.
Yes, sir.
Because I laugh every time people talk about it.
Oh.
Do you ever think that there will be a sequel to Goonies?
What? Who laughs?
Because I personally don't think it's ever going to happen, because you would think at this point if it was going to
But
happen.
what if you were ever in a position to actually not be able to ask? For 2 reasons. One is that you find out they're not going to be, one for sure. Or 2, that one is being done or has been done and is coming out.
I would like to think I would know that if the sequel is being made. I've heard rumblings of stuff, but it's just one of those things where...
Don't you find, my point is don't you find more pleasure in the anticipation of asking than you were with any kind of finality around it? You know what? This is what I'll say, because you can't answer. I'll say, I hope so. I've heard a lot of stuff too. I've actually talked to them about it. And it could happen, or it couldn't.
On that note, I will hit stop and say congrats on Hail Caesar.
Thanks, man. Seriously. Thank you.
Let me hit stop.